Good morning. This is Keloland on the go with all you need to know in news and weather as you start your day.
A driver is dead after crashing his car into a grove of trees near Humboldt over the weekend.
The Minnehaha County Sheriff's Office says it happened early Saturday morning when the driver apparently didn't stop for a stop sign and went through an intersection on Highway 38.
He died at the scene. A passenger was airlifted to the hospital with serious injuries. She is expected to recover.
We have an update on a Hot Springs man who had been missing for nearly a year.
28-year-old Matthew Marshall was last seen on July 24th of last year. A post on Facebook has reported that his remains have been found.
His family plans to host a vigil in his honor and is thanking all the volunteers who took part in the search effort. At one point, there was a reward of up to $5,000 offered to help find Marshall.
Current South Dakota State Senator Jamie Smith has officially thrown his hat into the ring for the next Sioux Falls mayoral race.
Smith has also been a state representative and ran for South Dakota governor in 2022. If elected, Smith wants to do what's best for Sioux Falls.
As we go forward, we want to continue to make wise decisions, and I want to be a part of that.
Smith has also been a teacher and a coach and currently works in real estate.
David Zakaitis has also announced a run for mayor in 2026.
Now let's get a check on the weather with meteorologist Scott Munt. Good morning, Scott.
All right, good morning, Summer. We are looking at temperatures today in the 80s and low 90s across eastern and southeastern Keloland. Not as warm across western, central, or northern South Dakota, where north winds will have those north winds bring in some cooler weather. But south winds ahead of the system, looks like 20, maybe 30 miles per hour as numbers warm, upper 80s, lower 90s. We'll have to watch for storm development later this afternoon, maybe after 4 o'clock, eastern, southeastern Keloland. As we go into the evening, those showers and thunderstorms will linger, some which may be strong to severe. Brian will have more details on your forecast coming up.
Thank you, Scott. People in the town of Bryant, South Dakota are raising money to restore their historic theater.
The Bryant Theater is more than a century old, and for the last 25 years, volunteers have kept it in business. They purchased the building in 1999 to keep it from closing.
Now the theater has received nonprofit status, and a current fundraising project aims to restore the walls, doors, and flooring.
We've attached a link under this story on our website if you'd like to donate.
A popular burger joint in the northern Black Hills has risen from the ashes following a devastating fire nearly 2 years ago. The Sugar Shack is back open and serving food once again.
The rebuilt restaurant still has the same layout and look of the old shack, but with more space for both customers and staff. Business so far has been good.
So after this weekend, I'd say every day was a record-breaking day, and that's all I wanted. I mean, so now we know people want to come. People want to. They showed up. So I mean, if we would have not had people show up, it would have been a lot more stressful. But no, I'm feeling great now. A little bit stress is off my shoulders. So and people are loving it.
One customer we spoke with said the new Sugar Shack is much nicer than the old building and that the food is as good as ever.
The Sugar Shack is open daily, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Mountain bikers will soon be able to ride along the trails of Great Bear Recreation Park.
Falls Area Single Track and Great Bear are working together to break ground on a 4 to 5 mile long track in July.
It's something that's been a long time coming.
People have been wanting bike trails out at Great Bear for years and years and years, and we're so excited that it's finally coming to fruition. FAST has been working for the last couple of years to really get that approval that was needed and to start putting the plans together and the funding.
We've been raising money for this first phase of the project, and we're about 3/4 of the way funded for phase 1, but we still have a ways to go on that. So we're optimistic that we'll fully fund this phase of the project, after ground breaks.
If you'd like to help Falls Area Single Track with their fundraising, we've posted information under this story on Keloland.com.
That's a look at some of our top stories.
Now let's get another check your weather with meteorologist Brian Karstens. Brian?
All right, our weather forecast today. Well, we're watching a broad zone of a risk of severe weather possible later today and this evening. And that's basically running a line here from north of Marshall, Minnesota, right through Brookings, Sioux Falls, and then angling to the southwest. Obviously, there'll be some thunderstorms within this zone that could become strong to severe with hail and strong winds, the primary threats. Obviously, a tornado risk we can't ignore, but I think at this point it's probably going to be more isolated on that particular subject. Here it is. You can see our cold front. We've got a wind change there going on west of Chamberlain. That's about 12 o'clock. And then what we're expecting here is that there's a very narrow tongue of instability and humidity coming in from Nebraska. So we'll see a pretty substantial uptick in the humidity right ahead of that cold front. And so we think that scattered thunderstorms can develop. Again, we're watching the placement of that. If they start developing at 4, they'll be in these areas. If that does not take off and it delays, well, then, of course, it's going to be a little farther east. You can look at Sioux Falls, 5 o'clock. There's a chance of thunderstorms. I want to point out a couple of things, too, about the nature of this. This is probably going to end up as a broken line. It's going to be a line, but there'll be some gaps in between. So keep an eye on that trend. I do expect that this will eventually sag south, but also there's going to be some development behind the cold front later this evening. So if you happen to miss out on the initial rain, there's still a chance of some new development coming in behind it. But I do want to make it clear that the heaviest rain totals are going to be associated with those first thunderstorms that move through. And those are the ones that can produce easily over an inch, probably locally a little more than 1.5 inches of rain. But the general rains behind that probably aren't going to be quite that heavy. So that's kind of where we're at on the forecast, again, going into this evening. Now, on the bigger view, temperature-wise, we're going to be cooling off today in Rapid City, high of just 70 with a north wind at 20 to 40. Notice the difference in Aberdeen and Pierre. There's not nearly as much going on with the weather this evening. It looks like maybe a couple of shower chances. Your bigger storms are going to line up right along the front in the southeast. And then again, that'll be the most active zone of weather as we transition through the mid to late evening hours. Then the cold front takes over, and tomorrow morning, a lot of that rain chance is going to slide east of us. Whatever is left over in the morning will be very scattered, and then with some partial clearing, we're going to hold those temperatures down tomorrow. Upper 60s, low 70s. Not exactly a warm day. And then we'll get into Wednesday, Thursday. A little moderation, but then comes in another chance of showers to the Black Hills on Wednesday and Wednesday evening. So it still looks like an unsettled week here. Maybe just not quite as robust with big storms, just more scattered showers and rain chances. 91 Sioux Falls today. This is by far and away the hottest day of the 7-day forecast. We're down in the low to mid 70s as we finish up the week. These 20 and 30% chances of rain are going to come and go later this week. It's somewhat of a disorganized pattern here. We get a couple of upper level systems that'll be moving through. So it's not terribly cold, but we're also not necessarily hot. I don't see that coming back anytime soon. Aberdeen in the northeast, a lot of days in the 70s. The rest of the week, 20 to 30% chances of rain as well by Thursday and Friday. Pierre and Rapid City also playing that out with chances of rain in the forecast. And it looks like right now Rapid City will also see rain chances. Again, pretty good there late Wednesday afternoon, but that's a little cooler, highs in the 60s. More details online at KENDALLAND.com.